If you aren't diagnosed with PXB, post-XCOM blues, then most likely you've yet to experience XCOM.
I'll get him next time. No!
Which is an enviable situation. Falling into that game is an indelible experience that will linger on your conscience. A telling symptom of PXB is feeling like you can out-strategize on a turn-by-turn basis any and every game out there. Will XCOM's success be a stim-pack spray on the turn-based genre? What is new in a genre that's been laying quiet in the flanks of more spotlight-soaking games? Let's showcase some recent offerings and highlight what hooks each has to really reel you into its particular flavor of turn-based strategy.
Time to meet your maker.
In order to give proper attention to some of these games, I need to call upon other members of the squad for help.
Fire Emblem Awakening is the latest in a long-running series of strategy games that have appeared on Nintendo consoles, kind of going back to the NES. For a long time, the games weren't released in the US, but a few of them have made their way to the US, and the latest, of course, is Fire Emblem Awakening on the 3DS. Battles take place on this tile-based, a grid, and characters can move X number of tiles per turn and perform actions and things like that. It has the weapon triangle where swords beat axes, axes beat lances, and lances beat swords. So there's a bit of a kind of rock, paper, scissors element to it, but that's just, one layer. There's also lots of magic and lots of types of units that do way more damage to certain other types of units. The one thing that really makes Fire Emblem special, I think, is the way that characters form relationships with each other. You might position two characters next to each other who have fought together in a lot of previous battles, and they provide bonuses to each other that then, when they attack, they just benefit each other and do a lot more damage, or one makes the other one's percentage to hit go up. It's this great mix of strategic depth, these battles that are so satisfying, feel like I effectively guided my troops through them and made use of their abilities and paired them up effectively and all this stuff. That plus the ways in which the character relationships really, really develop over time, and how that has narrative pull and the gameplay ramifications of those characters becoming far more effective alongside of each other.
I'll take Frontline Tactics. It's a free-to-play game. In single player, you choose from a number of missions and then boom, you're playing. You are allowed to one move and one shoot each turn. You can forego a trigger pull to travel a few more tiles, however. Units take cover if there is a compatible object next to them, which grants hit and defense bonuses. And if a unit is caught within two perpendicular enemy sightlines, Crossfire is declared active. And they will take more damage. Each weapon has 3 damage tiers, calculated in tiles. If an enemy is 1 to 4 tiles away, the USP does 28 damage. If they are 4 to 7 tiles away, it spits out 15 damage. So sniper rifles deal less damage close up and more in the middle tier. Whenever a unit is hit, they auto-counterattack, which makes you consider your cover and health before, say, walking up to a unit Trinity style and inquiring whether or not they can dodge this. Units can train in certain proficiencies, which are non-counterable, which adds to the diversity of your deployment and tactics. The hook lies with the point accumulation. Each mission divvies out points based on your performance, and besides paying real money, that's the only way to unlock anything that can expose the strategic and tactical variables that are available to you. It gets really tedious building up enough points to, say, recruit a new soldier, but it's really easy to jump in and take some turns. And it's free.
One of the things that makes Skulls of the Shogun different from other turn-based strategy games is that it has a very fluid sense of movement. You're not moving around on this grid of different squares that you can step inside of. It's very different. It's kind of almost chaotic in a way, because you have a radius of movement that you can sort of shuffle around in to your heart's content, and you can really cozy up to enemy characters as much as you want. You can kind of finagle your way around them, so it's a lot more fluid than other turn-based strategy games. You still have a fixed set of moves that you can do in a given turn. With your base level characters, it's usually you move and then you attack and then your turn's over. But as the match progresses, you can upgrade those characters. For example, when you kill an enemy, they leave their skull on the ground, and then you can gobble down their skull and you become a higher powered character, and if you eat enough skulls, you gain another turn. So there's strategy in that area where you're giving yourself more room and more potential to do things inside of a given turn. There's a pretty basic class system going on in Skulls of the Shogun. You have your main dude, who's kind of like the king in a game of chess. When he dies, the game is over. But at the same time, he's also one of your most powerful dudes on the board. So there is this whole strength and weakness element going on there, where he can easily take out some other dudes, but if you get him a little bit too deep into the field of conflict, you're risking the entire match. So in addition to that, you've got other classes like the foot soldier, cavalry, archer, and that type of thing, and they all react to each other in different ways. So you're constantly trying to find the most advantageous matchup that you can picture. It knows the strengths of the platform that it's on, and it's a really clever game. It's got a really great sense of humor.
Omerta, City of Gangsters. Come for the combat sequences, but also get intrigued with the management and operation of an empire that may or may not be near a boardwalk.
Got a lot of work to do.
The combat portions offer varied abilities across your gangsters. There's more to it than just trading shots from Prohibition-era firearms. There's bleeding, active buffs, and healing all come into play, and they all cost action points.
Nothing personal.
Each gang member also has a pool of move points to utilize each turn, so you're likely to move and attempt multiple shots in a single turn. Worth playing the demo to see for yourself.
Atta boy!
King's Bounty Warriors of the North is the latest in a long line of fantasy turn-based RPGs with the King's Bounty banner. It isn't like the others in this roundup, but its combat system is turn-based, so I'm going to allow it. Rather than maximizing percent chance projectiles will do damage, you manage unit numbers and spells/abilities. What I mean by unit numbers is your Vikings, for example, are represented by one character model, but you have a number of them, say 12. It takes a certain amount of damage to kill one of them, so you make your who-to stab decisions based on both how much damage you can do per unit and how many surplus units there are. Situational variables are influenced by poisons, stuns, buffs, counterattacks, and ranged weapons. It's a refreshing contrast compared to other turn-based game styles, yet it is still brimming with the challenge of how to most effectively deploy and utilize units and abilities, which is really the crux, or should I say crack, of what entices your brain to crave more turns. Just one more turn. This is by no means an exhaustive list, but it's focusing the spotlight on more recent offerings. The genre still maintains, and has always been there, ready to take its turn once you get hooked. Perhaps the only real way to fight off PXB is to play XCOM again, but new games are always sweet.
You don't have to repeat that.
Any turn-based games you can't shake off your mind? Please let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching.
All mission objectives completed.